The trolley problem. What would you do? Imagine this. You're standing by a set of train tracks on a warm, quiet afternoon. In the distance, you hear a rumbling, and soon enough, you see it. A runaway trolley hurtling down the tracks, unstoppable. And then you spot something terrifying. 5 people tied down to the tracks, completely unaware of the danger coming their way. You look around, desperate, panicked, and then you see it, a lever. If you pull the lever, the trolley will veer off onto another track, saving those 5 lives. But wait, there's a catch. On the second track is another person tied down, 1 life. So what do? Do you pull the lever sacrificing 1 life to save 5? Or do you let the trolley continue, leaving fate to decide? Suddenly, a quiet afternoon turns into a moral crossroads. This is the trolley problem, a thought experiment that has challenged philosophers, psychologists, and people like you and me for decades. It sounds like something straight out of a nightmare, but in reality, it forces us to grapple with deep ethical questions. Questions about sacrifice, about the value of life, and the weight of responsibility. Now pause for a moment and reflect. What would you do? Before you answer, let me share something personal. A few months ago, I faced a choice that, while not as dramatic as the trolley problem, felt equally paralyzing. My friend, let's call her Jess, was struggling with mental health, and I could see her slipping further and further into depression every day. I was overwhelmed. On one hand, I wanted to help her and be there for her every step of the way. But on the other, my own life was spiraling. I was juggling work, family, and my own emotional battles. It felt like I was standing by a set of tracks, and I had to decide, focus on helping Jess or preserve my own mental well-being. It wasn't as simple as pulling a lever, but the pressure was real. If I focused too much on her, I risked losing my own stability. But if I pulled back, I feared what would happen to her. Life, much like the trolley problem, often forces us into impossible choices. Now let's return to that moment by the tracks. Picture that one person's face on the second track. Maybe there's someone you know, or maybe a total stranger. Can you see the panic in their eyes? Can you hear their heartbeat pounding? Their life is in your hands. And over on the first track, 5 more lives. 5 people with their own stories, dreams, and families. Every second counts. The trolley is getting closer. If you pull the lever, you're actively making the choice to sacrifice 1 life to save 5. But isn't that unethical? Can you live with that decision? And on the other hand, if you don't act, aren't you letting those 5 perish? Can you stand by and do nothing? We often like to think that we know the right thing to do. But in situations like this, there is no perfect answer. The trolley problem makes us uncomfortable because it exposes us to the messy gray areas of morality. There's no hero waiting in the wings to save everyone. It's just you, the lever, and an impossible choice. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh, of course I'd pull the lever. Saving 5 lives has to be much better than letting them all die. But here's another twist. What if the one person on the second track isn't a stranger, but someone you know? Your best friend, your mother, your child? Does that change your answer? This dilemma raises bigger questions about utilitarianism. The idea that the best choice is the one that benefits the most people. But is the value of life something we can measure in numbers? Can 5 lives ever truly outweigh 1? And is it fair for us to decide whose life matters more? Now imagine you're not by the tracks, but up on a bridge. This time, there is no lever, just you, and beside you, a large man. If you push him off the bridge, his weight will stop the trolley, saving those 5 lives below, but killing him. Could you do it? Suddenly, the decision becomes far more personal, far more visceral. It's no longer about pulling a lever. It's about physically pushing someone to their death. This version of the trolley problem pushes us even further. Why does it feel so much harder to push someone than to pull a lever? And what does that say about the way we view responsibility, action, and violence? When I was trying to support Jess, it felt like I was on that bridge, holding someone else's weight while balancing my own. I had no clear answer, no right or wrong choice. Just the realization that whatever I chose would have consequences for the both of us. The trolley problem doesn't have a single right answer. It's not about figuring out what you should do, but about making you question what you would do and why. It's about forcing us to look at the boundaries of our morality and the uncomfortable reality that sometimes there is no easy solution. But here's the real takeaway. The trolley problem isn't just about trolleys and tracks. It's a mirror, reflecting the difficult choices we face in life every day. We may not be deciding between life and death, but we're constantly navigating complex moral landscapes. We decide whether to speak out or to stay silent, whether to help or walk away, and whether to sacrifice our comfort for the sake of others. These are real choices, real dilemmas. In the end, I did my best to support Jess while trying not to lose myself. And that's the thing about moral choices. We do the best we can. And that's the thing about moral choices. We do the best we can, even if there is no perfect outcome. I had to make peace with that gray area. So next time when you face a tough decision, maybe not with a trolley, but in your own life, remember the trolley problem. Ask yourself not just what's easy, but what's right. Consider the lives that are being impacted by your decision. Consider the lives that are being impacted by your decision even when the tracks aren't visible. And most importantly, remember that in a world where moral dilemmas are unavoidable, it's the courage to face them, to think deeply and act compassionately that truly matters. I'm Syeda Naba Adnan from Pristine Private School, signing out. Thank you.